plan after plan without implementation over the years. So you might ask, what's different now? What you're going to see today is not a rail plan. What's different is that this is a comprehensive transit plan that includes trolleys, smaller commuter buses, regular buses, BRT buses, and a light rail component. This plan asks the question, if you could blow the system up and start over, what would you want it to be? You would want it to serve all riders, blue-collar workers, white-collar workers, retirees, students, and tourists. You'd want it to not only take you to work, but you'd want it to get to your favorite weekend hangouts. And you'd want it to serve those who visit our community without a vehicle. You'd want it to be efficient and convenient, and you'd want it to have regional connections. And you'd want it to give North County the type of transportation that its unique demographics require. PSTA has already started to implement some of these things. I know that you all know about the North Coastal Route Trolley. Most of you have probably been on it or know people who've been on it. It has been a fantastic success. And that's just one example, I believe, of the unique type of transportation North County needs. We've also implemented, if you haven't seen it around, it's a smaller sort of a commuter van, I call it. It's not really a van, but it's bigger. It's called the North County Flex Route Service. And this is almost door-to-door service, and it's great for anyone, but it's especially wonderful for our seniors and our young people to get used to driving or get used to getting on public transit. This is a conversation that we want to have today. It's not a done deal. It's not a written in stone plan. It's a conversation. We've done some comprehensive planning. We've done our homework. Now we're coming out and asking, what do you want out of a transportation system? What will serve your customers? What will serve your community needs? I believe in the concepts that we're going to talk about today. And if you remember, I told you I was a real skeptic 4 years ago, but I think we've made a lot of differences, and I've done a lot of things differently than have been done in the past. And I think with your input today, we can make this conversation even better and make Pinellas County Transit and the economic development that Pinellas County deserves better. I'd like to introduce to you Brad Miller, our CEO of PSTA, who in a very short period of time has been reshaping PSTA into a progressive thinking organization and helping us all understand that a comprehensive transportation system is just one more tool in our toolbox to building strong economic development in Pinellas County. Brad.
Thank you. Okay, I'll try to speak loud so that while you're eating, I can get through the presentation, and we will leave some time to answer questions at the end. So feel free to eat. Again, I'm Brad Miller. I'm the head of PSTA, the Pinellas Coast Transit Authority. And we, as I think you well know, we are the operator of all of the mass transit in Pinellas County. We also fund, as Julie described, we are the funding organization that funds the Jolly Trolley and the trolleys along the beaches as well. It's a private organization, but we contract and provide the funding for the Jolly Trolley. I report to a 15-member board, and Commissioner Bajalski is one of our board members. Commissioner Mertz from Safety Harbor represents the three Oldsmar, Safety Harbor, and Tarpon Springs on PSTA, and Commissioner Latvala has been on PSTA for a long period of time. So it's great that they're here. Mayor Eggers and others are also on transportation committees around the region and have seen my PowerPoint, so I apologize to most of them. They should just go ahead and eat their lunch, maybe. As Julie mentioned, PSTA is trying to do what it can with its resources that it has now, and try to look at different options of reaching out in the community with however we can improve the service. And one of those examples is the Jolly Trolley. That service up alternate 19 to Dunedin from Clearwater Beach, to Tarpon Springs has been incredibly successful. And all of our trolleys along the beaches are very successful. Down in St. Pete, we turned regular bus routes into a trolley route, a consistent trolley route that goes from downtown St. Pete all the way to St. Pete Beach and past the grill. And ridership grew by 40% compared to the buses that used to be there, just by putting it on a trolley, which, as you know, that really speaks to the tourism aspect. And we're starting to have some discussions perhaps about expanding the Jolly Trolley kind of concept to maybe other areas like Safety Harbor. We have just this past December, we launched our first new bus services that we had launched in the county in probably more than a decade. Up here in the northern Pinellas County, these flex routes, they're called our North County Connector routes. And you can see on this little map here, you can't really see that too well probably, but those are innovative and unique. They're not innovative nationwide or anything. We copied some ideas that have been done over in Hillsborough, but because the density up here in northern Pinellas is lower, and the streets, it's not really a grid network of streets. Those routes, you can pick them up at the regular bus stop, or if there's no sidewalk or you can't get to the bus stop, you can call PSTA and we'll deviate in those zones off the route and come pick you up. There's some slack time built in the schedule to allow for deviations, and that's been very popular, especially popular on the route that goes over to Hillsborough County, goes over to North Tampa there, because it connects over to the Hillsborough transit system there, and people, it is a limited service, but people really need that connection, and that provides it. Probably the most comprehensive or most exciting thing is our technology that we put on the buses. We are getting more and more people. Now 6,000 people a day are texting. And of course with mass transit, you can text and ride in Florida still. They stand at the bus stop and they text there's a big number at the bus stop, the bus stop ID number that they're standing at. They text the PSTA, and then it comes right back within a second and says when your bus is going to be there. The real time that your bus is planning to arrive, or like me, if you're usually kind of late, it tells you when. It confirms without a doubt that you just missed it. So, but again, we're trying to do the best we can with our limited service, but we are finally moving forward and trying to develop a 21st century transportation system for our county. The county, first the PSTA board, and then the county commission voted back in February to place a sales tax referendum on the 2014 ballot. That's about 15 months away. Not this coming November, but the following November, 2014, to a 1% sales tax on the ballot in Pinellas County, and replace the current PSTA property tax that exists. As she said, we're not there yet. We're not ready for this vote to happen yet. What I'm here today to talk to you about, and to hopefully answer some of your questions about, is the planning process that we're trying to complete in 2013, so that voters can make a wise decision and informed decision when they go to vote in 2014. That was a historic step that the county took back in February, but it wasn't a premature step or a hasty step. My slide says 30 years of planning. I was told by a longtime transportation planner, it's actually 40 years of planning, 40 years of discussion. My office walls are lined with plans and studies, and that's what we do a very good job of, is studying transportation and mass transit. But the voters have never gotten to vote here in Pinellas County. We've never gone to an implementation mode for a mass transit system. No doubt you all have heard about the alternative analysis and the decision to someday implement a rail system in Pinellas County. That study is complete. This is a copy of the executive summary. There's some 4,000 pages, some 3 years of technical analysis. That's all available on our website, greenlightpinellas.com, if you want to read all that. I do have some board members that have read most of it. And it is part of our plan. It is one component to our plan, but it is a completed document. People always ask me, is Pinellas County a viable place for rail or that kind of mass transit? These circles on here are representative of cities that have recently implemented similar types of rail systems. And on the left-hand side is their population per acre, or their density of development for residential. And as you know, Pinellas County is the most densely developed county in the state of Florida, and we certainly rank right up there. The blue represents where we currently stand, and the orange represents what the plans call for. The zoning plans and the land development plans for our county call for the density of Pinellas County to grow out into the future. And you can see we're right up there with Hudson Bergen, which is just outside of New York City, in a very dense area. Jobs per acre, we are less competitive. You can see right now we're at 8. And plans to grow to 12. That's what this is about. I am very honored to come and speak to the Chambers of Commerce in North Pinellas. You are about commerce and how can we create jobs and economic growth. Pinellas County is constantly changing and developing, and how are we going to make that in a positive way? That's what this needs to be about. There is certainly concerns about the sticker shock of the proposed cost of building a rail system, $1.6 billion. I know that. But all transportation is very, very expensive. If you add the totality of what we are spending, and we're spending our tax dollars on US 19, converting that into an expressway, and the plans are to go to an expressway all the way to the Pasco County line, it's more than $1 billion. It's $1.1 billion that we are spending on US 19. If you add Ulmerton Road, which is seemingly perpetually under construction as well, that's another $500 million. It's the same amount kind of investments that we're talking with transit, just a different type of investment. And I think you can see, and I know talking to you, or I've heard certainly you have a better perspective than folks I talk to, say in southern Pinellas County, about the impacts that transportation, this project, has on land use. How is it affecting Clearwater and Dunedin and these areas, maybe for the good, maybe for the bad, as it turns into an expressway? Same thing will happen if we would invest in mass transit. It will have an effect on land use. So that's what I want to try to do, is change the discussion of the alternative analysis from this map, which you probably have seen, or you've seen on the internet, or seen discussed. This is the proposed alignment from Clearwater to St. Pete through the Gateway, the 3 biggest job centers now in Pinellas County, and the 3 biggest job centers planned for the future. That's where this goes. But I've lived here now for 2 years in Pinellas County, and this is a map of Pinellas County from outer space. This is not a map of what we enjoy and love about Pinellas County. It is a beautiful paradise community. We need to change the discussion of how this will affect you, affect Dunedin, affect St. Petersburg, on the ground, how this can affect, grow our economy or improve our community. If it doesn't improve our community, then we should not do this. This is, yes, you no doubt probably see press releases coming out from PSTA about record ridership, and we see new and growing ridership every single month. But that's not what this is about. This is not about just having more and more buses or a train or something like that. It has to be about improving our community. And people need to weigh in on that and say, yes, I think our economy needs a boost. I think transportation has has a serious effect on that. I know Pinellas County is going to change over time, and we need to find a way to regenerate. Of course, we're 96% built out. And how are we going to grow? So this is clearly about land use. And we have been engaging with the communities along the line in land use planning, working with our partners at the county and whatnot. This is a picture of how some planners develop some scenarios in Largo and how they want their community to redevelop over time. Before I came here, I worked in Charlotte, North Carolina, and despite Charlotte being known as the home of NASCAR, it is also well known because they passed a sales tax and implemented a rail system in Charlotte. But this is a map of the Charlotte bus system. This is the map of what the bus system looked like in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina in 1998, the year before they passed their sales tax, and then this is what it is today. They have dramatically expanded their bus system. And that is exactly what we're talking about doing here in Pinellas County with this initiative. We will go from the map on the left to the map on the right. The map on the left is our current bus system in Pinellas County. It is a system that does cover the entire county, from Tarpon Springs all the way down to Gulfport. We have routes. But as you can see, this is a map. The darker the blue line, the more intense, the more frequent the route is. It is a very peanut butter thin spread bus system of hourly, or some even every 2 hours, very infrequent bus service going long distances, connecting into mainly shopping center hubs where the buses connect, and since they only come every hour, all the buses come in at the same time. And this is a problem in places like downtown St. Pete or downtown Clearwater, where they yell at me about all the buses coming in, and they don't like that. Going from that to the one on the right, a high frequency grid system, where we wouldn't have this hub and spoke thing, but the buses would be frequent and they would connect, so we wouldn't need to have intense, all the buses come in at one time, but they would come one after the other, so you could transfer from one place to another, transforming the bus system. A lot of people say, especially up here in the northern Pinellas County, well, the buses are empty. The buses I see are often empty. Well, yes, at the end of their line, or as they come back to the PSTA garage, or at some times today, they are relatively empty. But at other times, they are full. They during the peak hours, they are full. This is a map. The yellow lines show routes that at some time during the week, they are experiencing overcrowding. You can see it's virtually the entire system. But the reason for this is because the buses are only coming every hour. The ones that are not facing overcrowding are the more frequent routes that we have. This map, I know you can't see the lines on it, but let me just describe it. This is all of our routes in the whole system, and this is their productivity. How many riders per hour of bus service are riding on every single route? And the ones in red, that I've highlighted in red, are routes in North Pinellas County, north of Gulf to Bay Boulevard, that they operate in north. And you can see our top two routes, in our top most productive, most full routes in the whole system, are on Gulf to Bay Boulevard. That's the 60, goes east and west on Gulf to Bay. And then the 78, which is Clearwater to Dunedin, to Countryside Mall through Dunedin. Our top two most popular routes. They are not our most highest total ridership routes because they don't run as frequently as some other routes, but the people are riding. There is a thought that people in northern Pinellas County are not like other southern Pinellas County. They won't ride. They are riding. They are riding what we have. It's just that we have a very limited, infrequent service to ride. So that's what we're talking about changing. We're talking about layering on a new type of transit system. We would start with a set of core routes, very high frequency. What we would implement our bus rapid transit routes. That in addition to the buses, we would implement capital improvements along these corridors so that they would run more frequently and have different types of bus rapid transit amenities, perhaps different types of vehicles. And a different way to pay your fare. And then we would layer on top of that these different types of service. This is a map of all the different types. We would start with the bus rapid transit, say on US 19, up and down US 19. Then complement that with frequent local service, much more frequent than we have today on certain routes. Trolley services for tourist-oriented places. Flex routes for those areas that are lower density that you need to deviate in. Something new to Pinellas County that we just don't have right now park and ride lots and express routes to Tampa. The proposal is for 3 times the amount of express service over to Hillsborough County and the airport and West Shore and downtown Tampa than we have today. And with connections that would start even up the stars or the park and ride lot proposed locations, there would be one at the Pasco County line, so that Pasco residents could not have to traverse through Pinellas County to get over to Hillsborough County, but they could park and ride as well. Again, this is sort of a blow up of North Pinellas County and the frequency that I was talking about. All the service would operate more frequency. The one on the left is all the black lines run every hour or 2 hours today. There just is not very good service in northern Pinellas County today. I know that. And changing that to a much more frequent system. Again, why are we talking about and doing this? It is about helping our community. This is a map of the population growth or decline in Pinellas County from 2000 to 2010 in the whole Tampa Bay area. And the blue census tracts are areas that had growth, and the pink ones are rose-colored ones are ones that had decline. And you can see most of Pinellas County showed a slight decline in population between 2000 and 2010. How are we going to regenerate and compete with our county? How are we going to grow our economy? Staying stagnant and doing nothing. Most people I talk to recognize that's not possible, but that affects all of it. It doesn't just affect transportation. That affects our schools and our communities and our certainly our tourism and everything. How are we going to implement a transportation system with our built-out county that is going to allow us to grow? Certainly we need more roads in some areas. Certainly eastern Pasco County and Hillsborough doesn't have the road network to handle the growth that they have. Pinellas County is in a different situation perhaps. So again, this is a comprehensive plan that we're working very hard in right now to complete. We've got the rail plan done. The bus plan is going to be done this summer. It's almost done. And the land use piece is going to be completed this summer. That all ties it together. The whole plan will be put together, and we are describing the total package as the Green Light Pinellas plan. The Green Light Pinellas plan will be what voters vote on in November of 2014. The whole package. Now, the Green Light Pinellas process that we're in now is an outreach process. That's why I'm here today. That's why I'm going to go next week and speak to my next group. Clearly, we need to put this plan together and have folks say it is a viable, credible plan. I know members of the audience who are here that do not believe in this or do not think that we can put a viable plan together, that we will not be accountable for the plan, that we have no way to control cost increases or our numbers aren't right. I want to try to be able to answer your questions. And if I can't answer your questions, I want to make it so that you can look at our plans and understand for yourself, or have someone else come talk to you now, so everybody can feel that this is a good plan that we should move forward with. So that's why this green light process now has to be a two-way conversation. I'm doing a PowerPoint right now, but when I come out a second time to groups, I don't have a PowerPoint. I just try to hear what people have to say. A dialogue. You will start seeing more and more green light stuff. You've got pins in front of you. I'm wearing this pin. It says, "Ask me about Green Light Pinellas." No, you don't have to know all the details of mass transit to answer that question. I get asked that quite frequently, actually, now when I wear my pin around, and I say it's about a plan to finance improved mass transit in Pinellas County. There's going to be a vote in November 2014 for a sales tax to transform the transit system that we have today. And people say, "Oh, well, I ride the bus and I think it stinks," and so I like that. Or, I don't know, you got a tough road to hoe, or whatever they say. They appreciate the dialogue. Of course, there's many other ways. I was just given a lecture about how I have to get our likes on Facebook up to a certain number, or else I'm no good. Not sure about that. Again, I understand that a lot of folks are never going to ride this. They have never ridden PSTA now, or they certainly are not going to be a daily rider. But this is a choice that our county just does not have today, that if we would implement this, people would have a viable choice, or many, many more people. The ridership, while high today, is almost entirely tourists and people that don't have a choice. They have to ride the bus. Seniors or people with disabilities. If you have a car or you live up here in Palm Harbor, it's really, I understand, it's not you have no other choice but to get a car and to commute by car. But with this plan, it will be a logical choice for you to possibly take mass transit. Maybe not for every trip, but maybe to a Rays game or to commuting to Hillsborough County or whatever. Is it going to solve traffic congestion on US 19? No, it won't. But what it will do is give you a choice to avoid it. The proposed rail time, the travel time between Clearwater and St. Pete under the plan is 53 minutes. It would take for the train to get from Clearwater to St. Pete. How long does it take today to drive that? Probably about 45 minutes to drive that. How long is it going to take 50 years from now? As we implement this plan, it's going to take longer to drive than 45 minutes. Traffic will increase. How long will it take on the train? 53 minutes. It won't solve traffic congestion, but it allows you and I to have a choice that we don't have today to avoid it. How much is this going to cost me? This is sort of the kicker. This is sort of the concern that many, many people have. Again, the proposal is to eliminate the current property tax that most of Pinellas County pays to fund the current bus system. If you have a $200,000 house or business, taxable value, you paid $147 last year to PSTA to fund the current bus system we have. If you go on the IRS website and they have a sales tax calculator, a sales tax deduction calculator. A Palm Harbor median family would pay $121 in sales tax in 1%. That's how much they are paying for the 1% penny for Pinellas today. In addition, obviously, most of you probably know this, a sales tax is paid for in Pinellas County, because of our tourism base, a third by the tourists. Right now, the tourists are riding the trolleys, and they are not paying. They are paying their fare, but they're not paying the subsidy that homeowners are paying. That is, not everyone is going to save money on this plan, but some people will save money. Some people will probably be about a wash. Again, so what my ask of you is to talk about this, to think about this, talk to your friends and colleagues about this. If you are really interested in it, go to greenlightpinellas.com and find out more information. There's even a place where you can click on a button and you can invite me to your meeting to give my PowerPoint. You can just like us on Facebook if you want, to help me get my number up on that. Again, thank you very much for giving me the time to talk to you about this. I would love to answer or talk to you, hear your thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah. One of the things I heard you say from being on boards and that in Hillsborough, which always brags to the fact that the growth is going to happen in Hillsborough, it's done in Pinellas. And you said 96% built out. Can you explain that?
Yes, I've heard actually 94 and 96%, but essentially the land, the total land developable acreage of Pinellas County, 96% of it has development on it. There's no open land, there's virtually no open land left in Pinellas County to grow in the way we have grown over the last 75 years keeps growing out and out in undeveloped areas. There is growth in there is capacity in eastern Hillsborough and Pasco to do that.
So one of the important things of this green light thing is the land use part of the monies as well, right? If we're 96% built out, having this land use component of the Pinellas green light thing is really important, right?
Oh yes, it's probably the most critically important thing. It's how are we going to regenerate and grow in that condition where we're already built out. And I understand that's a controversial subject in and of itself about growth and development. Some areas don't want to grow. So some folks say, well, this doesn't actually generate new growth. The economy kind of grows itself, and then this just redirects growth. But in the specific case of Pinellas, that's important because some areas don't want to grow. Some areas are very happy the way they are, but we do, as a community, want to have economic vitality. So how are we? Maybe we do need to concentrate growth in certain areas and not in other areas.
Let me ask you. Thank you for coming out today and having us here. And this might be a question just as much for Commissioner Latvala as it is for you. I'm curious. A 1% sales tax is going to fund all of this, a light rail and a new bus system and all this new infrastructure and land use. Is that the case, or is there going to be money coming from other areas of the county? Just a 1% sales tax is going to fund all this?
From the local government perspective, our financial plans, yes. The financial plan is for this to replace the current local funding source we have, the property tax, with this sales tax. But in addition to the sales tax, there will be federal and state funds like there is today, and then of course the riders will continue to pay approximately 25 to 30% of the operating cost through the fare box.
And what would a ticket be to go from Clearwater to St. Pete? What's a charge for a ride?
Right now, the base charge is $2 to ride the PSTA bus. As we implement this, the first things out of the box, if the voters were to approve this in November of 2014, then the first things by far and away would be the bus system improvements, the increase in frequency in hours, and the fares would be set by PSTA. They would be about $2. Maybe there would be some increases in there between now and then, but approximately $2. Then the rail would come online probably with about 10 years after that. So the bus system improvements would come first. The rail is down the road. The fare would be comparable, but probably grow with something like inflation. It's a good question. Sometimes when I give my presentation, I say you get a pen or a pin or something, but you already have that. If you ask me a good question, so you get that. Any other questions?
Just another thought. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
The 1% tax, is that going to fund the maintenance, or is that just for the construction of the project?
Construction and maintenance.
Okay. Does it pay for the additional labor, the people that are going to be hired to run the system according? There's going to have to be more people hired, right? State workers or county workers? Will the 1% pay for their salaries?
Yes. Well, yes. I mean, we will obviously bid out the construction. There might be some innovative ways that we have even private sector operate the thing under an agreement. But yes, there will be additional people hired.
And how long will it take for 1%?
Our financial plan calls for the 1%, again, over a period of years, to fund the construction of the rail system, the 2/3 expansion of the bus system throughout the entire county, and operating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Currently, we have the penny for Pinellas. Our sales tax was 6%, but we voted several times now to have the penny for Pinellas, so we're at 7. Are you saying we would go to 8?
Yes, this would go to 8.
Okay. And maybe Susan can answer this, but what is the total dollar of the penny for Pinellas that is collected on an annual basis currently? How much does that represent, that penny for Pinellas?
I think it's about 128 million.
128 million.
And that's voted on every 10 years. 2017, if the county commission decides to ask the public to reauthorize it, it'll be back on the ballot. But if not, or if that referendum failed, then in 2020, that penny would go away.
We've done it for
This is the
third time. Got it. Thank you.
just in the third year.
But isn't it true that this doesn't have a sunset? It would be in perpetuity, this 1%, so there is no 10-year sunset. And that the 130 million is going to be replacing a current 32 million out of the ad valorem tax. So it's a 100 million increase in the budget of PSTA. Isn't that accurate?
You're right about that. This is different than the penny for Pinellas. The penny for Pinellas pays for capital infrastructure, and so it has that sunset provision in this. Since this pays for not only the capital but the operating, which does continue, it would not have a sunset. And yes, I mean the total revenue intake compared to the property tax versus the sales tax is probably about a net 100 million, but that's what pays for all of the expanded service. Yes.
What happens to the ad valorem taxes that were going towards transportation and PSTA once that extra penny is added?
Well, the arrangement that we have now, that we are proposing, is that the PSTA board, which is an independent state-enabled transportation authority, which has the power to levy up to a 3/4 of a mil property tax, that they would zero that out. That would be zeroed out on everybody's property tax bill. And that would be sort of arrangement we would make with the county. The county actually collects the property tax and then it flows to PSTA sort of automatically. I think is the way it works now.
What is the total of that bucket of money right now, the property tax that's collected? How much is going to PSTA currently?
PSTA's current total budget is $60 million, about $60 million, and our property tax is about 32 million of that. The sales tax, again, would be approximately 128 million. The total PSTA budget would be about comparable to the 32-60 split, so it would be more than that because we would get additional federal and state grants and more riders and more February. Thank you very much for your comments. Yes.
I have a question. On your chart, you showed the improvements and the advancements of what's coming for the routes that you plan on advancing. And you showed areas of alternate 19. We don't see much. We see a lot of tourism going up alternate 19. We don't see as much marketing and advertising for the North Pinellas, like going to the sponge docks, coming up towards Alderman. How can we improve those routes to have people like me buy into it to see where we're getting the influx in our own neighborhood and our own businesses?
Well, in terms of advertising, I think if I understand your question, certainly we probably do need to beef up our advertising of the Jolly Trolley and other services that are oriented toward tourism. Commissioner Bajowski has been a very strong proponent of coming up with tailored types of advertising pitches and services to the tourists and to reach out to them in different ways. If there's other ways to reach out to the sponge docks and the northernmost tourist attractions, we should take advantage of this.
If funding's approved in the fall of 14, to what extent would bonding be involved? I'm assuming this is not a pay-as-you-go, the revenues would start to come in from that point forward. To what extent would bonding capitalize, front-end capitalize the improvements that are envisioned? What role would that be, and to what extent Can you tell us a little bit about how you envision the long-range debt component based on the anticipated revenues?
Yes, I'd be glad to bore you to death with my little financial PowerPoint that I've got on there. But you're right. You're right. Yes, there would be a bonding component to this. This is a steady stream of sales tax payments, and that the capital cost of all of the improvements, the rail is obviously the big one, but the bus rapid transit and other improvements would be financed. We would seek federal government and state matches that in programs that exist today. And what happens, what the other cities have done with this is they go through all this planning process, and that's why it takes 10 years sometimes, is the planning process that you have to go through to be eligible for federal and state funds. And then what the federal government does is they sign a contract with you saying, we promise to fund our share of the project, but we don't promise when you're going to get your money. That's subject to Congress, which is crazy. So, but they promise, and the financial institutions have taken that document, that promise, as something that the locality can then bond its local stream off of, even though the stream from the feds is not exactly known. And so yes, that would happen. Usually Congress has paid off their commitments in 3 to 5 years. Right when the construction of would take place. That's sort of a summary. Well, thank you very much all for your comments. Lynn, I don't know if you want to...
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody again for coming, and I think that Brad needs a round of applause for his presentation. Thank you very much, Brad, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to do something like this again. So thanks everybody, and have a great afternoon.